Hi, in this video, I will show you guys how to identify where a function is increasing, where it's decreasing, and where it is constant. First, we will look at the formal definition, then we'll look at the visual to help us understand the definition. Alright, increasing. A function f is increasing on an open interval I for all a and b in the interval b greater than a implies that f of b is greater than f of a. So what does that look like? On the corner plane, here's A, here's B. Notice that B is bigger than A. When we think about increasing, we think about from left to right, it goes up. So let's draw a function that goes up on the interval. F of A corresponds with the y value at x equals A. F of B corresponds with the y value at x equals b. Notice that b is greater than a. It implies that f of b, here's f of b, is greater than f of a. So we can see this pictorially, that f of b is greater than f of a. Now let's look at decreasing. A function f is decreasing on an open interval I if for all a and b in the interval b greater than a implies that f of b is less than f of a. Here on the coordinate plane, here's a, here's b. When we think about decreasing, we always think about going down. So from left to right, draw a function going down on this interval. Here, the y value corresponds with the x value equals a is f of a. The y value corresponds with x equals b is f of b. So notice b is greater than a. Implies that f of b, here's f of b, is smaller than f of a. So we can kind of see that f of b is indeed smaller than f of a. Constant. If function f is constant on an open interval I, if for all a and b in that interval, b greater than a implies that f of b is equal to f of a. Here we have a, b. When we think about something that's constant, it doesn't move up or down, it's just flat. So from a to b, it's going to be flat. So notice that f of a is the same thing as f of b. All right, so now that we are able to identify where the function is increasing, decreasing, and constant, we want to be able to write out the interval. When we write out the interval is always going to be an open interval. So when writing the interval of increasing, decreasing, or constant, we always use parentheses. Also, we always want to use write out the starting x value, where it starts to increase or decrease, and the ending x value. So we don't really write out the y values when we write out the intervals of increasing, decreasing, or constant. Let's take a look at this example 1a. Here we have a graph, and we are to identify the interval of increasing, decreasing, and constant. What will help is take out a highlighter or a colored pen and highlight where we see the graph increases. So I see there's an increase from left to right going up right there, and also right here. For the first interval, we want to write out the x value where it starts. Because the graph, there's an arrow pointing this way, that means the graph is going to go on forever this way. That means the x value where it starts is going to be a negative infinity. And the x value where it stops, right here, The x value is a negative 7. For the second interval where it increases, the x value where it starts is at negative 2, and the x value where it ends is at negative 1. Next, constant. Oh, sorry, this interval was increasing, not decreasing, so let's move that back up there. Next, decreasing. So let's highlight where it decreases. The x value where it starts to decrease is at negative 7, and the x value where it stops to decrease, it's at x equals negative 5. Next, interval of constant. It doesn't move up and down here. It's constant right here. So for the first interval of constant, the x where it starts is at negative 5, and then the x where it ends is at negative 2. For the second interval, we're going to use a U for union. The x starts at negative 1, and it keeps on going on forever, so the x is going to be a positive infinity right there on the right side.